Hi guys, welcome to Leicester Fan TV with my name's Lox. We're here today for the Friday night fan zone. I'll be joined by Josh, aka Sportsa. We'll be talking, the Palace game tomorrow. We'll be talking, our recent form and the big question: Chilwell or Fuchs? So guys, thank you very much for all who have joined so far. So we've got Amanda Harris in there. Hi to you, and Ben Morgan, and also Matthew Bond. The big thing about tonight is obviously we're doing a Friday night fan zone, and we want to get your views. We want to get your comments in. We want to hear what you have to say. That's what we are all about at Leicester Fan TV. We had a disappointing game earlier in the week. We've got a big game tomorrow. I'll be having a lot of questions for, Josh Sportsa when he joins me. And yeah, obviously the biggest thing about this is just getting all your comments, all your views on Leicester City, and we want to see what you have to say tonight. I am just about to bring in Josh, who is waiting in there for me. Hello,
mate. How are you?
Are you right, Josh? Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Not too bad myself.
Good. So we've got a big game tomorrow, haven't we?
Yeah, must win in my opinion. Obviously, since the Premier League's return, we've been very, very poor. So 3 points, 100% needed tomorrow against Crystal Palace.
Big game. Disappointing start since Project Restart. It's not been good enough. A lot of pressure piling on the players, on the club. And yeah, obviously it is a must win, as simple as that. Let's just see who has joined us so far. So we've got Matthew Bond, hello. Zachary, Yvonne, James says, do you think Albrighton will be off? Yeah, what do you think, Josh? I don't think Albrighton's going to be off at all. I think he's one of them players who stays around for a while. He does his job well. Yeah, I think he's one of them, isn't he? What do you think?
Yeah, I think Albrighton's going to see his career out, obviously. Obviously, he's not the most... he's an average player, obviously gives 100% each game. Obviously, he doesn't have games where he completely flies, but he's very, very average and he does a good job each game. And I think we can always rely on Mark Albrighton if we need him.
Yeah, he's one of them players, isn't he? He's a proper presser. He's like a bit of an old-fashioned player, does his job well. Defends, attacks, gets the balls in the box. We've got a comment here. Obviously, we need a massive turn up in form if we are going to start to think about being top 4. I mean, there's been a lot of talk, obviously, since the Project Restart about top 4, top 6. I mean, at this moment in time, Josh, what do you think is going to happen? Where are we going to finish?
It's a difficult one. To be perfectly honest, realistically, obviously it sounds pretty bad, but I'm going to probably predict us to finish 5th. Like, if that gets the Champions League, I don't know what's happening in Manchester City, but I think we will drop down to about 5th or even 6th at this rate, just judging by the performances so far. With teams like Wolves, Manchester United, Chelsea, all performing really well. Even teams like Spurs, Sheffield United, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, I mean, there's a comment here from Mark Charles. Just before we move on to the Palace game tomorrow in more detail, obviously, Mark Charles, we're coming towards the end of the season at last, finally, after the big break. We're going to be entering the transfer window at some point soon. I mean, Mark Charles has mentioned here Shaqiri, Ings and Lallana sign all 3. I've heard a lot of talk about Lallana. Obviously, he's going to be out of contract. Shaqiri, I've not really thought about. Ings, I mean... Ings,
that'll be difficult.
Yeah, very difficult. There's going to be some of the clubs in for Ings. But what do you think on them players, which Mark's mentioned?
Yeah, I think we just need to bring as many people in as possible, especially if we do get Champions League or Europa League football next season. We need to have much more squad depth. We saw that against Chelsea when we had to bring when James Maddison was injured, we had nothing off the bench. So yeah, I'd like to see all 3 of them come. If they do come, I don't know if they'll come, probably not. But I think Shaqiri will be a good sign. I can see Adam Lallana joining. I don't know about Danny Ings, but yeah, I'd definitely take all 3 of them.
Yeah, well, let's move on to the Palace game tomorrow. Well, Andy has said, players need to grow a pair, take a leaf out of West Ham's. But I mean, what a game that was! Did you watch it on obviously after our game? Great game. Obviously, I mean, I saw a tweet earlier in the week saying I can't believe Leicester is still 3rd. The last time we won a game, it was before I'd never heard of Zoom. You know, the video,
I saw
the conference app. Yeah, I mean, you know, West Ham did a good job to keep Chelsea away there, but you know, we seem to be relying on other teams, right, to do us a favour, and it's not good enough.
No, we can't rely on teams just with results going our way. We need to put in the performances to get the 3 points. I mean, at the start of lockdown, Champions League was in our hands. Now, is it? Probably not. So, yeah, it's disappointing. We just can't keep on relying on teams just picking up results for us to keep us in the top 4.
Yeah, I mean, Ben says here, maybe going a bit deep early, but do you think we have rotten apples in the dressing room, upsetting the apple cart and undermining the manager? What do you think to that?
I kind of have to agree, to be perfectly honest. I mean, in the last few seasons, we've seen that Leicester can the manager can easily lose the dressing room. I think we saw that with Ranieri towards the end of his spell, Claude Puel, and it could be happening with Rodgers. I don't think it's happening, but it definitely could happen.
I mean, I was thinking, do you obviously, you know, before the restart even happened, you know, that's when the news of Chilwell moving to Chelsea came out. Do you think that would unsettle the squad a little bit, seeing as though a lot of the players in our squad, well, a few of the players in our squad are English, they're young, they're probably all good friends with each other. Do you think that news would have unsettled a few players?
Yeah, I agree, to be perfectly honest. I mean, with the constant links around the club, it must be difficult for the players to concentrate, especially if they're getting in the media. There's always transfer rumours going on. So, yeah, it could have unsettled the squad. I think another point is Brendan Rodgers obviously was linked with a move to Arsenal as manager. I think that would have unsettled the squad as well.
Yeah, I mean, Tom says here, Leicester Fan TV's Tom, does Fuchs start a left back? Like I mentioned at the start, it's a big question. I think there's been, you know, I would say I wouldn't say 50-50. I would say the majority of Leicester fans have maybe spoken about Chilwell, you know, said about Fuchs coming in. In my opinion, Fuchs rarely has a bad game for us, whereas Chilwell, and you know, I know a lot of people are saying Brendan might want to keep Chilwell in to keep his confidence high, but if Chilwell keeps playing and he keeps getting slated, that's not going to do him any good for us. What do you think? I mean, what's your take of it, Fuchs or Chilwell?
For me, I go Christian Fuchs. Obviously, defensively, in the last few games, we haven't been up to the standard. Obviously, I think Christian Fuchs is kind of a similar player to Albrighton. Obviously, he's average and we can always rely on him. He always puts 100% in. Obviously, sometimes, yes, I think Chilwell will have a better game than him. But overall, if you look at Christian Fuchs, he's very solid defensively. And I think he has a threat going forward as well, especially with his long throws as well. So, I go Christian Fuchs on Saturday. Yeah,
I agree. I mean, Fuchs is obviously we know Fuchs is better at the back defending than Chilwell. Yeah. You know, we at the minute we do need those chances into the box, but I think Fuchs can do that just as well as Chilwell, if I'm honest. Andrew says here he wants to revert back to a comment the other night about dropping Vardy. This is one of the questions I did have for you tonight, Josh. And Andrew is leaning towards doing it just because teams set up for Vardy. Like another comment the other night, you know, have we been sussed out by other teams? Is dropping Vardy and putting maybe a Nacho, Perez up there, is that throwing a spanner in the work and testing the team to see if they've got a plan B? What do you think?
I think we could do that. I think obviously teams, just like I said, I think teams have really worked us out now. I think teams think that they can just sit back and Leicester can't break through, especially at the moment where we have no intensity going through the middle. So I think putting Iheanacho up front and then probably bringing Vardy on for the last 20 minutes and Vardy can just go full throttle. I think that could work, and definitely it would surprise a few teams as well if we do that. So yeah, for me, I go Iheanacho.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, obviously, Mark said here we need someone to take the game and team by the scruff of the neck, and that person is Johnny Evans to give him the armband. I've seen, you know, on Leicester Fan TV in the past, I spoke myself about we're very friendly, we're not fierce enough with the other teams like we were, you know, even in the title winning season, Champions League season, both of them seasons, we were more fearless. You know what I mean? We also spoke about getting someone further up the pitch, maybe giving them the captain's armband. We spoke about Vardy. We spoke about getting Morgan on. I mean, Evans, it's not a bad shout.
To be honest, I agree. I think having a captain in goal is not the best. I mean, Kasper Schmeichel is a brilliant leader, but at the back, he just can't communicate with the players further forward. So in my opinion, we need at least a centre-back or someone in the middle who can be the captain. Yes, I don't think we have the most experienced players in the middle. See, James Maddison, Tielemans have only just came to the club. So, yeah, I think just giving the captain's armband to someone like Johnny Evans could just benefit us, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, Alan Youngie is very optimistic. We will get the 3 points tomorrow, simple as that.
Hopefully.
It's coming. It's coming. I mean, Sam Jono says here the win is coming. Vardy will bag an early chance, and someone is in for a thrashing. We're missing that at the minute. We're missing that. That aggressiveness in our team. We need someone to convert a chance. If anyone's going to do it, will it be Vardy? Will it be Iheanacho? Will it be Maddison? I mean, Vardy's been stuck on 99 goals for a while now. Do you see him? Do you see him kind of breaking that goal drought tomorrow?
Hopefully, I think obviously if Jamie Vardy gets a chance, he's 9 out of 10 times he's going to take it. And I think if he just score one goal, I think that can really boost his confidence, and I think he can have a good end to the season. So it's just about getting that first goal for Vardy, and then I think the whole team will benefit from that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I can see a comment here from James Hill. He's mentioning something that I don't really want to talk about. I don't really agree with, but a lot of Leicester fans are, for some reason, calling for Rodgers to get the sack. One thing I will agree on is we are playing. It does look like we're playing similar football that we did under Puel at the minute, but that's because the chances are coming. I mean, what's your opinion on those fans being a bit too negative, in my opinion? But what do you think of the people calling for Rodgers' head?
Yeah, I mean, we just have to look at the table alone. I know at the moment we're doing very poor, but sitting third in the Premier League, I know we can't always go back to that, but Brendan Rodgers, I think he's the right man to take Leicester going forward. Yes, we've been very poor recently, but I think it's way too early to call for Brendan Rodgers' head. Every manager goes through a tough patch in the season. I know it's a very long one, but I think as soon as things turn around, I think everything will go back to normal, and hopefully we can just get back up to that standard earlier on this season.
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, obviously, someone said here back to the game specifically tomorrow. Dan Baxter, I'd go 3 at the back against Palace, 3-4-2-1. Casper, Soyuncu, Evans, Fuchs, and Ndidi, Pratt, Barnes, Albrighton, Madders, Perez, and Vardy. I mean, look, it's an interesting point because I was thinking of there. Obviously, I mean, I think that Dan in here has got obviously Barnes, Albrighton on the wings. I don't know if he's got Perez and Vardy up top, but we haven't. Perez at his best at Newcastle, he was a centre. He was a striker. Yeah, and he's played obviously most. I think he played maybe a bit up front against West Ham early in the season. Where I think he scored 2 goals, didn't he? We've not seen much of him up front. I mean, would you consider? I mean, I know Dan's got Perez and Vardy in the team together here. Would you consider Perez up front on his own?
Potentially, I think it's something to throw the spanner into the works. Obviously, just like I said, he thrived at Newcastle being up front. So we could do that with Jose Perez, or we could potentially play him and Maddison just off the striker as well. I think Perez centrally is where he's most capable. Out wide, yeah, he does good. But I think if we could put Perez up front, actually, that's a good shot. And I think it would. I think Crystal Palace would just. I don't think they'll be expecting that at all.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, one of the big questions I mentioned at the start, which I did want to bring up to you tonight, was, and a few people have mentioned it, and it's this: is Palace a must-win? What does everybody think? By the way, everybody keep getting your comments in. We will bring them up on screen. We will discuss them. But Josh, is we've said it since the restart. Really, they're must-win games, but surely this in particular, this is considering our remaining games are Palace, Arsenal, Bournemouth, Sheffield United, Spurs and Manchester United. Surely Palace is a must win.
100%. I mean, just looking at those games alone, they're scary, especially Manchester United in the form at the moment. We can't leave securing Champions League football to the last 3 or 4 games because it's just not going to happen. The game on Saturday is completely must win. We have to take 3 points away from it. A point's not good enough. 3 points are needed, and I think a 3 points here could help us secure Champions League football massively. It's must win.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, the games after Palace, Palace isn't an easy game by any stretch of imagination, but the games after that, it's going to, we've got some big games, and in the past, Leicester have been more suited to playing the big teams. But I think, if we don't get 3 points against Palace tomorrow, I think we're going to be in big trouble, because I can't see Chelsea losing, and I can't see Wolves losing, and Manchester United as well. They're on fire. All 3 of those teams are on fire. Wolves haven't conceded a goal yet. It's unbelievable. And then there's us on the other end of the spectrum, and we are struggling at the minute. But I mean, just going back to the original question earlier on, would you drop Vardy? I mean, what's your ideal striker kind of situation tomorrow, would you have just the one? Would you have maybe two? Would you pull Vardy to the bench? What do you think?
It's a difficult one. Obviously, in my opinion, I think Brendan just will go Vardy. But if it was my decision, I would go Iheanacho to start off from, just to simply change things up. Changes are needed. I think Brendan has said that he's going to make a few changes, but keep to the core side. So, yeah, I would like to see Iheanacho up front, but it's just a matter, will Brendan Rodgers do that? I'm not too sure.
No, I completely agree. I mean, Andy Medhurst has said no win tomorrow is season is over. You know, a lot of people have been saying, you know, we're going to be stuck to Thursday nights instead of Champions League. If we're not careful, we may not even get that.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't get if you don't get one European competition, it would be embarrassing, to be perfectly honest. I mean, we were sitting second at some points of the season, and now, especially Manchester City's potential European ban, I think if you don't get Champions League, it will be a massive shock. But if you don't get European football at all, which is a possibility if we continue, it'll be such a wasted season, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Ross has said here, hashtag give George Hurst a chance. Someone mentioned the other day about George Hurst, obviously young striker in our academy. What would you say to kind of, you know, the thought of maybe giving, you know, someone in the youth team a chance at going forward?
Yeah, I know. I think it's a good idea. I think it will really mix things up, especially with George Hurst. He offers something different up front. Obviously, he's a tall striker. In most recent games, we need to have a plan B, and George Hurst could be at the forefront of that, being a tall striker, offers something different. So, yeah, I would like to see some youngsters get involved, and I think it really mixes things up, and it gives some good competition to the first team players.
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, obviously another one there from Ross again. Need fresh meat. If George is anything like his dad, he would be amazing. Yeah, I agree with you. Oh, is that your mic? Oh yeah, it's all right now.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, George Hurst. You know, you see, I know we're a bit different, but you see big clubs giving their young strikers a chance, and they, you know, they do tend to kind of grab it. And yeah, I mean, why not? If we're struggling to get goals at the minute, why not give someone like George Hurst a chance to, you know, to give it a go up front? I don't see you know, any harm with that. I mean, Ross has said he's 6'3", really tall.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think in recent games we've struggled, especially with Albrighton on the pitch. We've struggled not having a target man. People have mentioned Slimani. What one thing I did want to say, what do you think with Slimani? I mean, do you think when he comes back from loan he would have another stint in the first team, or?
Yeah, I think obviously he's out on loan for, I think he's at Monaco right now. And I think he would offer something as a plan B. Obviously under Brendan Rodgers, he's a very stubborn manager, and I think the last few games are a perfect example. I mean, if you had Slimani on the pitch, especially in the game against Everton, I mean, they were sat back for the whole of the second half. So if you had Slimani up front, it would have really offered something different. Yes, we keep whipping crosses in, it might not drop each one time, but it's going to drop at least once if you keep pinging the crosses in, especially with Michael Brighton on the pitch. So I think it will offer something different, and that's just something to go to.
Yeah, I mean, Hugh mentioned there, obviously played the team we ended with against Everton. I think, I can't remember if it was Tom or Jamie the other day, said they would start that game. They would start the Palace game like we did at the end of the Everton game.
I agree.
Yeah, I completely agree. But you know what? I think what I've noticed recently is a lot of our players seem to be making the impact off the bench. But when those players start games, it doesn't seem to go their way. I mean, you look at Damari Gray. Do you think that he should get another look in the first team against Palace tomorrow, or?
Yeah, I think Damari Gray should get in. Obviously, Damari Gray has the impact off the bench. When he starts, he doesn't usually do it so well. But realistically, I mean, Harvey Barnes hasn't really performed. If you want to pay Perez more centrally, Gray probably is going to get the start. So, yeah, I think Gray's good off the bench, just like I said. But just when he starts, he just doesn't really offer the same thing, just going forward and taking players on.
Yeah, I mean, another one back to George Hurst. Andrew said it's good him being tall, but we can't get the ball past the first man from set pieces. I mean, I'm sure you saw the Damari Gray Gray corner against Everton. And let's be honest, you know, I'm not going to single Gray out. Maddison's done it a few times as well.
Tielemans as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, we keep saying, you know, in certain circumstances we need a target man, but even, you know, do you think? Obviously, you know, you see some of our players not beating the first man. Do you think that having a target man would significantly impact our you know, us going forward, or not?
Yeah, no, I think it would. I think it would offer something completely different, especially in the last 20 minutes or so. If we are losing, chasing the game, team sitting back, we just need someone up front, a vocal point up front, something to get forward and bring players into the game off that. Obviously, Vardy up front, we just don't have that, and we just keep playing the same sort of football. It links to the plan B once again, and I think if we did have Hurst up front, it would offer something completely different.
Yeah. I mean, Ross has said it again there. Fright and Howard worked, Heskey and Cotty worked, Dickoff and Dean worked. Vardy and Hurst would be great. I mean,
Exactly,
we've not seen Hurst in the first team, playing. But I agree with you. I mean, you see big teams sometimes playing, their younger strikers to give them a chance. Arsenal with in recent time with Nketiah, Man United with Greenwood. Why not give Hurst a chance? I mean, Paul Locke has said here, got to be out of your head to drop Vardy if must play two up front or someone just behind Vardy, but don't drop him. I agree. I would maybe look at playing Vardy alongside. I mean, I said it the other night, a 4-4-2. We haven't played it in a while, but why not? If things aren't going our way. What do you think about playing? I mean, what formation would you play tomorrow? Would you play the 4-1-4-1? Would you play, the three at the back? Would you even look at playing a 4-4-2?
No, to be perfectly honest, I would like to see the 4-4-2. I think it would offer something good. I think Vardy needs more support up front, and having the two strikers, it'll probably offer that. Yes, midfield is only two of them centrally. It'll probably be in Diddy or Proud Tielemans. I think Maddison could be injured. So yeah, I think we could struggle in midfield potentially, but going forward, it offers us way more. Especially, it will definitely help Jamie Vardy as well. I think if he could go long, then he can play the ball through to Vardy and behind, and I think that could give us some more chances.
Yeah, completely agree. And Andrew says here, if Brendan makes changes, it needs to be one that leaves Palace scratching their heads on what to do. I saw a few people say the other day and last week as well. Does Brendan Rodgers have a plan B? Not many of our sides have had plan Bs. No. We have struggled with that in the past. I mean, what do you think that he has a plan B? Do you think that apart from what the possession ball, when chances aren't falling to us, is there a plan B? Do you think there is?
No, not all, in my opinion. I think we saw it when Leicester won the league. If we were struggling, Joa came on, offered something completely different. We scored so many last-minute goals when we won the league, and half of them were from Joa. So at the moment, we have no plan B. We have nothing to change to, and that's been our downfall, in my opinion. In so many games this season, we've been in drawing positions, a 3 points up for the grabs or a point, and we just can't get it because we just keep playing the same sort of football.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew said here, Finn has said here, made me laugh a little bit. Playing two defensive midfielders don't work for us. I think we would all be scratching our heads if we see two midfielders, two defensive midfielders starting tomorrow, especially at home. Yeah, like the other games. So, what would your midfield be tomorrow?
Yeah, so if you're going to play the 4-4-2, I would go with Ndidi, and then probably I'm not too sure about James Maddison, so I'll probably go for Tielemans. I think he'll start, so it'll be Ndidi, Tielemans. Then we'll have the two wingers probably being Gray and probably Perez. I think Ian Acho and Vardy will start up front tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I don't agree with you there. The last few comments before I let you go, Josh. We're 1 point above fourth. With 3 points above sixth. In 2 games' time, we could be looking at a completely different end to the season. What's your, obviously, because it's going to be a big game tomorrow, like we said. What's your prediction for tomorrow? What do you think? How do you think it's going to go?
Gosh, it's hard to judge this one, but so prediction. I'm going to go with a 2-1 win to Leicester. I'm going to go into the game optimistic, hoping that we can get the 3 points. I think it'll be a tight one. Crystal Palace always do well at the King Power, so it's going to be difficult. But yeah, I'm going to go with 2-1 to Leicester, and if we do get the 3 points, it's going to be such a big 3 points towards the end of the season. So yeah, 2-1 win to Leicester. Vardy to get his 100th Premier League goal, and I'm going to go with Perez to get a goal as well.
Yeah, well, no, I don't agree. I don't disagree with you much there. I mean, I did do a prediction video for Jamie yesterday. I did say, unfortunately, I think it might be a 1-1 tomorrow. I hope I'm wrong. If it all depends on how we play, what formation we play, what players we play. If I'm being optimistic, yeah, I would agree. Maybe a 2-1 win for Leicester. But we may sit here tomorrow night and we might be over the moon, and we might be like we are a bit now, a bit disappointed. But thanks very much for joining me, Josh. Okay, and we'll speak to you soon. Okay.
In a bit.
Cheers. So guys, we're nearly at the end now. I'm just going to read out some comments here. There are some funny ones just before we let you go tonight. Obviously, just back to what Ross has said a few times tonight, give George Hurst a chance. You know, it would be interesting if we give him a go. I think, you know, Brendan, if he was going to switch up the attack, he may go with, you know, Perez or Iheanacho first. But I don't disagree with you, Ross. I think that that George Hurst, why not? You know, we've got nothing to lose apart from a Champions League spot. But you know, in the dying moments of the game, why not give George Hurst a chance up there? And also, someone did mention it, obviously, about getting Wes Morgan, you know, up, throw him up top. And you know, Joshua said it. Plan B, throw Wes up. You know, that's not been happening. I did say the other night, you know, shove Danny Ward up there if we need to. Give the opposition something to worry about in the dying moments of the game. Alan said 6th in a 3-horse race. Well, you know, that's going to come to our you know, our jokes towards Tottenham a few years ago are going to come to bite us in the bum there if we do let this slip. And Ben Morgan said there, finally, Vardy and Hurst, both Sheffield Wednesday fans, play them both against Sheffield United. No shortage of motivation. Well, we've been saying we want some aggression, and we've been saying that we want some kind of oomph to our play, and that come on, you know, that's incentive enough there. But yeah, just before I let you go, just wanted to say thank you very much all for joining, getting your comments in as always. You know, it's what kind of keeps us going, you know, so that we always have something to talk about, so we can always include you all. Mark Charles, just before I go, said United will lose and so will Wolves. We go in unbeaten now until the end, and I mean all wins, and that is the optimistic we need. The optimism we need for the end of the season. Hopefully the players see that, you know, it gears them up, it fires them up, and hopefully we can go the end of the season unbeaten. Will it happen? Will it not? We'll only be able to find out. So, you know, you can follow us on Twitter at Leicester Fan TV, and to subscribe to our content, you can also follow us on www.leicesterfantv.com. Phil will be live for match day tomorrow, pre-match, half-time, and full-time. And one last thing I will mention, you know, everyone mentions it all the time. You know, we would not be able to do this without our sponsors down below. Obviously, without them, it would be, you know, we wouldn't be able to bring this free content to you all. So thank you to them. And once again, thanks to all of you for joining us. What else to say? You know, come on Leicester tomorrow night, and hopefully this time tomorrow we'll be 3 points better off in the table. Thank you.